Hello, welcome back to the Fashion Hive Podcast. We're here at Union Station with Libbi Jessen. She is a designer for Kansas City Fashion Week and the designer of this lovely dress that I'm wearing right now, and I will be modeling on the runway. So, very excited. The dress is amazing. It's fabulous. Why don't you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself and about your design experience and about who you are.
Okay, perfect. Well, hello, my name is Libbi Jessen. I'm a fashion designer based out of Wichita, Kansas, and I actually work for Vanya Designs Bridal, and so I primarily do bridal, and ever since I graduated from Kansas State University with my fashion design degree, I have been there. So I've been there since 2019, and I'm a designer there now, and so I do primarily bridal, but I am here at Kansas City Fashion Week this year as a solo designer. So I'm here all by myself with my own designs that are not bridal, but when you see them, you'll definitely be able to tell there is a little bridal flair in each of the designs rather than like ready to wear or anything.
Yeah, and like bridal designs have some of the most like articulate like techniques and some of the like highest quality techniques, and I think that definitely transfers. Like you can tell every garment is like very thoughtfully made and designed.
Yes, I know every design I've made, I've just wanted it to really flatter a woman's body, and then to be really comfortable, and then just like so they can feel really sexy and beautiful in the dress. I have a lot of corsets, and there's a lot of sheer fabric trends, and definitely the ruffle fabric trend is very prevalent in my collection. But yeah, I just want it to be fitted and beautiful and make you feel really good, and you look beautiful in this dress. Like,
Thank you so much.
Pretty much made for you.
I feel beautiful in this dress. I love this silhouette. I love wearing the silhouette. It's like my favorite type of dress to wear because it just flatters all my curves in the perfect way. So this is a very exciting day for me.
And it has a little train and then a slit, because slits are so fun. And that is definitely one of the trends we've been seeing in the bridal industry. Our slits are a huge thing right now, and I had to add a slit into this dress. And the funny story behind this dress, I actually designed and made the original version 7 years ago when I was a sophomore at K-State. I entered it into one of our fashion shows we threw there. It was like the fashion club threw a fashion show, and I think it was second place in the original design category, and I really wanted to remake the dress with my better skills, because I have a lot better skills than I did 7 years ago when I was just learning how to design. And it's like totally like same vibe, but just a completely different and more updated version of the dress, and I love it.
It's so good. I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm so excited too.
So, talking about your experience that you gained in college and then now transitioning over into your work with Vanya Designs, what would you say has been your biggest takeaway as you've started expanding as you're being a designer on your own? Is there something that you can say at school or even working at Vanya Designs that has been that moment where you were like, this is why I'm going to make my brand this way?
Yeah.
Has there been that aha moment? And if so, what was it?
There has not been that aha moment yet.
Okay.
I have always been interested in formal wear and bridal wear. And being able to create bridal wear, every single day, all year long is so much fun. But I do love to branch out and do my own thing with like little black dresses, and my collection is completely little black dresses. That's how it's inspired. And I would say when I first started designing when I was younger, my mom, and I don't know if this has to do with her shopping addiction or just or anything like that, but she always told me, she's like, you can never go wrong with a little black dress. And so almost this entire collection is little black dresses, and every time I design something, that is definitely what I lean towards. like because I wear a lot of these dresses for events like weddings and things, and I just want my designs to be timeless. I want it to be something that you look good, you feel good, and it will still be relevant in 10 years. So I hope that answers your question.
No, that's
okay.
awesome. Yeah.
Speaking of being relevant in 10 years, is there any trends in the wedding industry when it comes to, you know, the styles? Like any trends that you either A, love, or B, hate?
Oh, there is definitely so many trends in the bridal industry, and it's very different in the Midwest versus like the coasts or even in Europe. In the Midwest, we're still very much in the boho phase, and I very much lean more towards like the classic, elegant side of bridal. Like that's what I'm most drawn to. And so because the classic and elegant, that's always around. And now it's like they're just draping the bodices a little differently, or they're adding slits to dresses because that helps change it up. That's like a trendy way, but it's still like classic. But I wouldn't say there's anything I dislike about any sort of trends. Ruffles are definitely becoming a huge trend right now, and when people see photos of this, they'll see the ruffle train, my finale dress that is like 97 yards of ruffled trim I had to sew on, and it took 7 hours.
That's a whole football field.
That's a whole football field of dress, and that's just ruffled trim.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I love the ruffles.
I love ruffles too.
It's my favorite.
So you're usually designing wedding dresses, which are all white.
Yes.
No, there's a few exceptions.
Yeah.
But, and then this collection is all black dresses. Do you ever see yourself experimenting with color?
I do see myself experimenting with color when I come back to Kansas City Fashion Week, probably in the springtime. I'll probably be back in the springtime with Vanya Designs, but I'm hoping the next spring I'll have my own collection, and it's going to be a kaleidoscope themed collection, and it will be all color.
That's so
and
exciting.
So I just want to totally like flip the script and do, all black and then all color, because I really want to show my diversity as a designer, because I don't just design, within one thing. I want to show my variety. So, yes.
So when you're talking about diversity of working with and your strength and showing everything that you can do as a designer, does that also go into how you choose your models and the sizes of
yes
and working with them, or what does that look like?
So I wanted a diverse palette. I didn't want just everyone to look exactly the same, and especially with body types, I tried to choose a variety of body types. And I would say I lean more towards like a normal body type rather than a super tall, super skinny model, because I would also like to wear these clothes once I'm done, and I am not that shape. And so I try to do it to where it would fit me proportionally as well. And so, yeah.
Love that.
How many designs over time have you kept for your personal use?
Oh.
Is it like most of your closet?
Most of my closet, yes. And it's like whenever I have a new event or something, I just make something. And I keep it for myself, and then, in like this case, it's like most of these dresses I actually made for myself previously, and then I either reworked, updated a little bit better, and then I created all 6 all new pieces. And so I have a total of 11 looks, and then my personal, I have 12 if you count me, and so I guess 7 of those are brand new, and the other 5 were made already, and then I've already worn them. So
okay,
yeah.
So say you have like a friend's wedding coming up, and you're like, okay, I need to make a dress to wear.
Yeah.
What is that process? How early do you start the sketching process? Like how much time do you allot for that?
Oh, not a lot. I usually I have Mondays off of work usually, and so it's usually the Monday before the wedding I'm making the outfit, which is why I had to do a lot of updates and fixes to a lot of this collection, because I just made it, and it was what it was at that point. But I was able to, go back and can work on these pieces again and make them fit just right and make it look exactly how I wanted it to look. So, but I am very much drawn to fabrics. I usually pick the fabric before I do the design, and then the design will come to me when I find the right fabric.
And I love this blend of fabric on this dress because I love velvet and I love leather.
Yes.
So having the nice pleather moment with the velvet, they complement each other really well.
Yes.
And I don't see these two fabrics mixed together often enough. I think they're both very classy, and they're even classier together.
Yes, I agreed. I love it. And you look absolutely beautiful in it.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I guess one of the questions that I have is when you're creating pieces that complement, like you said, they don't necessarily mesh well, or not mesh well, but you don't see them combined together a lot. How many of the pieces that you have currently are like this?
Like this dress specifically? Yeah. So there is pretty much an identical version of this dress in a midi length.
Okay.
And because I knew I would want it floor length and shorter for, more little less formal events. And I would say I have a completely mesh dress that I have paired with a spandex bodysuit. And so I feel like that's a trend you really, I don't know. I feel like you do see that mixture often.
Yeah.
But I use a lot of organza as well. And so I mixed organza with satin, with a mesh sparkly fabric, and then what's another one? With a stretched taffeta. And so I feel like you really don't see that. You just see an organza dress with a polyester lining or something like that. So I don't know, different sheens to give everything dimension.
So when it comes to fabric,
yes.
Certain people are attracted or opposed to different textures. For example, my partner has she can't touch velvet. It makes her body kind of react strange. Yeah. Are there any what is your favorite textile just to touch? Ooh. If you're a fabric drawn person?
Yeah.
What is your favorite to feel?
My favorite is crepe.
Crepe?
I love a stretch crepe. My sequin jumpsuit with the feathers on the top. That is a crepe pant. And they're the most comfortable pants in the world. They don't even need to be lined. And crepe just looks good on everybody. And I just love it.
I support that.
Yeah. But yeah, and so one thing about velvet, and any really good designer would know this, when you work with velvet, you have to lay all your pattern pieces the same way, because when you touch velvet, when you go down the body, it should be smooth going down, and then it'll be rough going up. So a lot of mass-produced velvet clothing is not made the correct way. And so it's when you become a really good designer that you know how to work properly with velvet, and maybe your partner wouldn't be so uncomfortable to touch it. Yeah. Probably because it was made wrong.
Probably.
But yeah.
That's interesting. I would have never thought. I mean, it makes sense. Never would have thought about there has to be a flow to it. But it's just like sequins, right? You wouldn't lay it one way and then they meet in the middle and then it's awkward, right? I've seen
that sequin that flips.
Yes.
Sometimes
yes.
I like it, but most of the time I hate it.
Yes.
Because it's hard to get it to all actually go the right way.
Yeah.
And then it gets messed up, and then you just have a handprint on your outfit or throw pillow or whatever has that on it.
Yes.
I don't know even know how, like, not to get too far off, but like the
no,
throw
you're
pillows, good. Like, what's the purpose of them?
Why?
Like,
I don't know. And it's like a smiley face on one side, then like a frowny face on the other. I'm like, what child is going to put that in their room and regret it? Like, you know?
Plus, like, if you're going to have throw pillows, they're mostly decorative in the first place, but I like them to be a little comfy too. Like, all of these ones are still like comfy, and you could actually lay on them.
Yes.
You don't want to lay on sequins.
No.
Like, sequins is great for like the outside of a garment, but you would never put it on the inside because like you don't want to touch it. So why would you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
It's like when you take one of those really good naps and you have like the imprint of like whatever you were laying on. Like imagine just waking up and you just have like sequins just printed in.
Oh gosh, that would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I don't even think you're falling asleep or staying asleep if you're on a sequins pillow. It's not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took us off the beaten path there.
Oh no, you're good.
It is really impressive though, and kudos to you. I mean, one, thank you for the tip for, we have a lot of aspiring designers that listen to this podcast. But then two, I mean, we have people that just, they watch from afar fashion, but they don't really get it. So kudos to you for the tip, and then that you're, actually doing that.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right. I mean, I think there's a lot of different brands out there that they struggle with that, or they don't care, right? It's just a get it out, and it speaks to you and the quality of your brand. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think that just goes to show like a true good designer really knows how to make garments fit well. And that's what I've always strived towards, especially working on like the custom bridal end, because you want it to fit them perfectly. And so I take a lot of time and consideration and trial and error into making the garment fit perfectly. And it's like the little things like having the fabric the right way, setting it up on the grain line the right way. It's just, I'm a perfectionist in that way. So yeah.
And I mean, it shows. Like you can tell the difference between like runway garments and fast fashion, and or even like not the fastest fashion, or even just like a lot of regular average clothing brands still don't put any emphasis on quality.
Yeah.
And you can really only get that from like, local designers or like crazy expensive price points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you look at oh my gosh, what is the brand I'm thinking of? It skipped my brain, but they're like the very couture designers that you can just tell like so much thought and planning and construction went into those dresses, and so it's just like always trying to go towards that couture feel and couture look. So
what is your favorite thing about couture?
My favorite thing, I think it's just the time you spend on like the one garment, because with couture looks, you're spending several hours on like one piece, and it may take a really long time, but it's like the reward is so worth it. And that's what we do a lot of where at Vanya Designs is we spend hours and hours and hours on one dress. Like I would say my finale dress is the most couture dress I have on the runway this season, because that dress alone took probably like 30 hours to pattern, to construct. I mean, the skirt alone took like 10 hours to make, and it's just the time you want to spend the time to make a truly couture garment. You have to put the hours into making it. And so even though it's not like lace or anything like that, but
it might not be like the most fun to make unless people love the process, but like it's the most worth it.
And that dress is corseted, and what you definitely see corsets coming into the ready to wear market. And one thing I am so particular about corsets, because a lot of the cup shapes they sit too high or they're too small for any like normal, but like if anyone has a bust, like you can't just like walk in and buy a corseted t-shirt like from Target. And so it was really getting that corset looking perfect I had to do it. Like
corsets are a lot of work.
They are.
But you're right, fast fashion, like I feel like it used to be you couldn't get all of these all these trendy designs and all these intricate designs, but like they keep trying, they keep, shortening processes and cutting corners in order to get these results. And like you're so right about corset. Like I struggle with everything. It's always too small, just the wrong shape, like everything. But I do have like a handmade corset that I got from a corseteur. Is that how you would say that?
I think I want to say bustier, but I feel like
bustier.
I feel like that's the name of the top. That's not the name of the person. I don't know.
Well,
but I know what you mean.
A professional corset maker. I
Yes.
bought one from her. So like she, I tried on all these different options and it was perfectly sized to me. And also having a real corset laced up on you, that's a process. That's fun.
It is. It's so fun.
Like it's like you gotta like fully bend over and like it was at the Renaissance Festival, so they were really
fun.
cinching that in.
Yeah, and I was like, that really holds you in, and then you have to sit up very straight.
Oh yeah.
And so yes.
But I love a good corset.
Gosh, yes. Oh, and that's like another thing. So like with the strapless and off the shoulder dresses, it's like you have to add that boning in. What you see a lot also in like ready to wear or like mass-produced clothing, you see like the really thin boning that's really flexible, and so I used really thick boning because I wanted you to be supported. Like the whole time you're sitting here, and like when you walked on the show, like you didn't see yourself like fidgeting or messing with the corset, even though it's a stretchy dress. You usually don't see like strapless stretchy dresses, but when it had the right boning, then it's perfect.
Yeah,
So.
I've never worn a dress that I feel like I don't have to pull up all the time. Like, this is really great. Like, plus, like, when you were taking it in on me at rehearsals, like, I don't know. Like, I just knew it was going to, like, fit literally perfect.
Yeah.
Like a glove. This is a glove.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah. I was like, when you came in, I'm like, it's a little big, but we're going to take it in and it's going to be great. Because I'd rather, get it too big and then take it in rather than when it's too tight and let it out. So.
How many dresses in this collection required alterations?
Only 3.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Yours and Joya's, the midi version of this. And then the sequin jumpsuit with the feathers on top. I just had to take in the bust a little bit. So yeah, it was a very good week, 2 weeks before the show. I didn't feel super stressed about it or anything. I knew everything was going to fit great. Awesome. I did have a dream like 2 nights ago that none of the clothes fit and they were all falling off the models. Well, it was a nightmare. Oh. And I was very stressed, but we're good. Everything's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Those like anxiety dreams always hit like right at the worst time.
Yes, I know they do. I'm like, I know everything fits. I'm like, I just look back at photos. I'm like, nope, everything's great. Everything's going to be great.
So one of the things that I don't want to backtrack too much, but really kudos to you, and Shaley spoke to it, but I mean, I don't know how many times, and we see this all the time in the fashion industry where someone's wearing something and they're just constantly having to adjust. And I mean, it's just wild, right? Like that someone paid a certain amount of money for something that didn't fit them that way, Yeah. So I think it's awesome that you make it a point to ensure that the models, Shaley sitting here hasn't had to, but then even going down the runway, right? Like they're not running off once they get off the runway to loop back around, that they're not like, trying to get it all fixed up, or, that they're at the end of the runway and, trying to fix it or trying to hold, like that's huge. I mean, that extra attention to detail, making it a point, that's huge. And it speaks volumes to your intricate perfectionism, which is, I mean, that's really what you should be looking for when our audience is going out and looking for designers to make clothes for them. That's a key factor right there.
Yeah, and that definitely comes from my experience in the bridal industry, because I've heard every complaint. I've heard my dress isn't staying up, it's uncomfortable, the boning's poking me in the wrong spot, and all of this. And so it's just paying attention to those details, and whatever those fit issues we have to do, it's like then when I'm making the pattern originally, then I can solve that beforehand. And to do minimal alterations, like all I had to do was take in the sides and it was perfect. And so, yes.
When it comes to creating custom dresses for clients, what's one of the most memorable or unique gowns that someone has asked you to bring to life?
Yes. One of my most favorite ones, her name's Katie, and it's, so she's a friend of mine from high school and college. We were in the same sorority, And she came to me and was like, I know I want you to design my wedding dress. And she was really small, like not short. She's very tall, very thin. And so when she went into stores, she said everything swallowed her. She didn't think it was laying right on her. And we were able to make everything fit her like a glove. And it was like exactly my style is what we designed the dress. So it was a strapless, off the shoulder. So it was a fitted crepe. I would say the skirt style was pretty similar to yours. It had a way longer train. We ended up putting a slit in it, and it was the fitted crepe. It really hugged like her hips really tightly, just to give her that hourglass figure that she wouldn't have had if she had purchased a dress off of the rack, because she was like so small. And and then she had like an off the shoulder chiffon sleeve collar thing, and it just looked so perfect on her. And I got to go to that wedding, and everybody was coming up to me and they were like, it looks like it was made for her. I'm like, because it was. And so that was my most favorite one.
So cool.
Yeah. And one of my dresses in this collection I wore to that wedding, so I was like, I have to make my own dress, and it was the long sleeve velvet one, the second one to walk.
It must be so special to have your wedding dress made by a close friend like that. It's so cool.
It was so special, and I loved every part of it, and I've made so many good friends because I've helped design their dress. It was like we were friends beforehand through like acquaintances, but then it was like I made their dress for them, and now we're even closer. Like one of my other friends, her name is Haley, I redesigned her mom's wedding gown into a reception dress. And that was, we like literally cut it up, made a whole new dress. It wasn't like alterations. It was like we chopped the train, like no returning after that. And that was so special too, because she got to wear her mom's dress, but it was made for her, and it just looked so perfect on her.
That's such a cool trend that when people do that, and I know sometimes people just try to rewear the dress and have it altered to fit, but I feel like recently, in the past decade or so, people have started totally reconstructing, because in the past I feel like it was more like taboo to like ruin a wedding dress or like, destroy it, or, destroy it. Right, that's how it was perceived, but like turning it into something totally new that's really lovable. Have a lot more people been requesting that?
Oh yeah, we get redesigns a lot, and as my experience with Vanya Designs has grown, that's what I started designing. I started small. I started with the redesign, so it was like reworking these vintage gowns, and then I moved into the completely custom. And it definitely takes practice. You have to ask a lot of questions, because you're making this custom garment for a very special day. But the redesigns is nice because you have like the parameters, like you have the dress, you just work within the dress. And I've been doing so many of those for the last 4 years, and they're my most favorite. Like, I'm not married yet, but I know when I get married, I'm redesigning my mom's dress. I've already told her.
That's so
And
cool.
what are her thoughts?
She's okay with it.
Okay.
I'm gonna I told her I'll just take off the lace of the dress, because she's got like lace appliques on hers. And
Awesome though.
It's so awesome.
That's
And it's so sweet. It's so sentimental. Like, I just love it. It's so fun.
And you want to do your own wedding dress?
Oh yeah, I'll make my own for sure. I've got ideas, but they always change because I see so many ideas, and then I'm like, I also don't want to copy anyone else. Like, I don't want it to look like anyone else's dress, and so it's tough.
How do you avoid, because I'm a TAM or textile apparel minor, and so like I've had to create garments for my classes and stuff, and I find it hard, like when I'm looking at inspiration, I'm like, oh, like I just want to make that. Why can't I just, do that? So how do you like take inspiration but like also make sure you're not, copying something?
I usually take inspiration because, Pinterest is like the best way to find inspiration. I have a whole Pinterest board of just dresses. That's literally what it's called. I get inspired by different neckline shapes, and so I like to see what other designers are doing it. And exactly, not copying it, but doing it in my own way. And so it's a good way to find inspiration, but not to just be like copy paste. And so, yeah, I don't know.
No, that was great. That was great. Earlier, you were talking about the dress that you designed for your friend, and people were saying that it looks exactly like your style. You said classic is like your style, but if you could like define your brand and your image in like 3 words, classic can be one of them. What would be some other like defining words?
Ooh. Yeah, I would say classic is one. I would say romantic and sexy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a perfect trio for wedding apparel.
Yeah. Or any clothes.
Yeah, anything.
Anything. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any more questions?
This has been awesome. Like, it's just, again, hearing the little tips and tricks, you know, and a big portion of this is just making it, you know, we're not necessarily, the podcast isn't 100% for education purposes.
Oh, yeah.
Some people will take away, you know, certain tidbits, but knowing what to ask for or knowing who to turn to, more importantly, is a huge component of that, you know, and that's why we want to spotlight designers like yourself, because it is the attention to the ribbing detail, the all of that separates your pieces from other pieces, and it makes you unique. And I mean, those 3 words right there that you gave fit that dress too. I mean, to a T.
Thank you.
It's
I'm
great.
so glad.
Yeah.
And we're in the Midwest. We're in the most unlikely fashionable place, but I really truly love the Midwest. I don't see myself like moving to New York or Los Angeles or anything, and it's just great that you guys are highlighting other designers, because there are so many incredible designers here. I've seen Gracie Key. I went to K-State with her. She was a year younger than me, and I was actually her mom in our sorority. We were in the same sorority together.
Yeah, fun fact.
And seeing her work just grow every year, I'm just like, yes, Gracie. It's like, she's killing it. And I have my own podcast. I love being on this, and it's called 3 Cheese Blend. I have it with my brother and sister. And so my brother is a landscape designer, my sister is an interior designer, and then I'm a fashion designer. I don't know how we all got in the design world, but we are, and then I forced them to start a podcast with me, talking about being in the design industry in the Midwest and highlighting other designers, you know, just to show people like we are just as good as those New York or Paris designers, and I mean that's prevalent here with every other designer here.
So I gotta know, 3 Cheese Blend, that's a pretty interesting name for your podcast. How did you come up with that?
So a few years ago, I'd say like 5 or 6 years ago, I just named our sibling group chat that. But you know those like bags of cheese at the store? It's like 5 cheeses.
Yeah.
That's where it came from, and I just thought it was hilarious, and it's even funnier because my sister is lactose intolerant, so she can't even have cheese.
Let alone 3 cheeses. That would be really overwhelming.
But we're the 3 cheeses, and it's so fun, and it's a good quality time to spend time with them, and then to just show like how all the design industries like basically bounce off of each other. Like I know I've learned stuff from them, but we're like all talking about all these like similarities we each have, and it's so fun. So yeah,
that's awesome. Well, you're definitely making Kansas proud.
Good.
The state of Kansas. So not KU, because I know you went to K-State.
Oh yes. That's right.
Making Kansas proud, and you know, to see your work and to see your work in Vanya Designs, you know, I think it's great that you made it a point to come here by your, you know, on your own and bring your own designs.
Thank you.
I mean, that's the only way not the only way, but that is a huge component of getting your work out there. And, you know, just kudos to you, because I can only imagine, I mean, hearing the 30 hours of work for certain pieces.
One dress.
Yeah, like, it's just like,
crazy.
You know, I'm like, that's a work week.
That's a long time.
That's a work week. So, you know, kudos to you for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to come here on my own to really establish myself as a designer, just to show everybody what I can do. It's like I don't just do bridal, I do everything else. And so
What's one thing you think you would never design?
I I would never design?
Yeah, like any type of clothing. Like, I hate this garment. I will never make one.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I'll have to think about that. But I don't think there's anything I wouldn't make. I mean, I've made men's clothes. I've made men's suits. And I love it. I've been able to work with, so my boss, Alicia Ybarra, the owner of Vanya Designs, she when I had started working with her back in 2019, she was collaborating with a sculpturist named Christopher Gulick, and I got to help them create like actual works of art, like these avant-garde pieces. And so it's like all over the board. Like, I don't know what I haven't made. Like,
okay. I think for me it would probably be like denim. I don't like sewing denim.
I have made a pair of jeans. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really like the needle starts to break and all that stuff. I just don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, denim is like its whole own thing. Like, there are so many technicalities to making a denim pair of pants, and I probably wouldn't make another pair of pants again. So that's a good, I'm glad you said that. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast today. I'm so glad I got to show everyone your amazing gown that I am so honored to wear tonight.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And so thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. This was so fun.
Absolutely. Well, where can our followers find you on social media and follow you? So plug the podcast, plug wherever your designs are, all of that.
Okay. You can follow me on my personal page, Libbi Jessen. It's LIBBIJESSEN. And you can follow me on Instagram. That's where I do most of my posting. If you want to follow our bridal page, it's Vanya Designs Bridal. Or the podcast is 3 Cheese Blend Pod, and that's pretty much on any social media platform, but it's so fun. So, yes, I love it.
I'll have to go give it a listen.
You will. It's really good. After, like, the 5th episode, we figured out our audio. So it's, like, really good after that episode.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still in our early phases, too, so we totally get, figuring out all the kinks.
Oh, yeah.
You guys see the finished product, but you don't know what all goes into it. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, make sure you subscribe on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you're listening, and follow us on Instagram at Fashion Hive Podcast. You can find me at Shaley Harper, SHALEYHARPER.
Yes, thank you for listening to today's episode. Again, my name is Santos Arellano. You can find me on Instagram at Reverend_Sants. Make sure you follow the Fashion Hive Podcast, and then go follow Kansas City Fashion Week as well. Go follow Libbi. Thank you again for being one of our hosts, or one of our guests. Excuse me. Gosh. All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. We're out.
You.